So good morning to Mr. Chiu, and here's my key takeaway for my final assessment form. Now, first and foremost, let's take a look at some of the important parts about the value chain analysis. So for the value chain analysis, UPT Forwarding has actually implemented a lot of supporting activities to make their primary activities more efficient. Now, it includes a strategic procurement process, a reliable supplier, big investment in human resource management, a robust management system, investment in technologies to ensure that marketing and sales activities are well supported, and to implement a real-time tracking system and sophisticated customer relationship management system. All right, so moving on to the external analysis, also known as Porter's five forces. First and foremost, the logistics industry is said to have a very high rivalry among existing competitors. The main result of that is that the industry is basically controlled by five main players. Now, these players have low cost advantage because they can achieve economies of scale through large volume of service offering, large volume of sales. But good news is the threat of new entrants is set to be low. Now, this is because in order to run a logistic industry in Malaysia, you actually need to have a lot of capital investment. In fact, the capital investment is minimum at 150,000 and can max out at 1 million Malaysian ringgit. Now, the threats of substitution is said to be moderate. Now, one industry that could potentially impact logistic industry is the autonomous delivery industry. In fact, the global autonomous delivery market is actually growing at a pretty high rate at 24.4% during the forecast period of 2022 to 2030. Now, this industry can pose pretty big issues to logistic industry because it means that some of the companies or some of the consumers, e-commerce sellers, food companies would shift from using logistic industry into autonomous delivery in the future. Now, let's take a look at the pestle analysis, particularly in the economy side. Now, the economy indicate a good sign for logistic industry. The rise in GDP for Malaysia, actually in the last 5 years and expected in the next 4 years, pose good signs for logistic industry. Now, the rise in GDP means that people have more income to spend, so they lead to a higher demand of goods and services, including logistic service offering. Now, the legal factor is also a factor that could benefit or affect logistic industry. In fact, the AFTA policy, which is basically an agreement among Asian countries where they eliminate tariff and non-tariff barriers. Now, this means that Asian countries can freely trade among countries, import and export freely among countries. Now, moving on to the recommendations. Now, I propose or I recommend UPT Forwarding to focus on innovation as their competitive driver. To be more specific, I recommend them to integrate AI to optimize delivery route. Now, this is because artificial intelligence is growing and the market of artificial intelligence is actually growing bigger and bigger. In fact, 24% of logistic companies are already using AI in supply chain operation. Now, the two management concepts that I would recommend is strategy and execution. Now, for strategy, I recommend them to develop a strategic plan, which includes a strategy plan to outline their long-term vision for AI. Now, this could be to set a amount such as like 20% of cost reduction through the use of AI. Now, the tactical plan can translate this strategic goal into actionable steps. Now, to be specific, they can include the AI technologies and tools to be adopted. Now, last but not least, operational plan focuses on the day-to-day implementation of AI. Now, moving on to the execution strategy. Before actually integrate AI into the full operation, I propose them to initiate pilot program to test AI algorithm before scaling up. Now, they can establish a standard evaluation framework with KPIs such as the actual delivery time reduction, fuel efficiency, and customer satisfaction. They also should implement the 3 types of controlling: feed-forward control to anticipate potential issues and adjust AI algorithm, concurrent control to provide real-time monitoring of the AI system, and feedback control to assess the effectiveness and make necessary adjustment of the AI integration. Now, I will wrap up my presentation with the SWOT analysis through my earlier analysis. Now, the two strengths of UPT Forwarding is their high customer satisfaction and advanced real-time tracking technologies. Their weaknesses, however, includes high financial investment, particularly due to the money needed or the capital needed to invest into AI and other modern technologies. Now, they're also dependent on stringent regulatory. They are also affected by the government policies. One example would be during the MCO. Key opportunities is the increasing demand for logistics service due to a rising trend of e-commerce activities. Now, there's also potential for expansion into new market through strategic partnership and technology enhancements like artificial intelligence I've mentioned earlier. The two threats, one of the two threats is intense competition through established players and potentially new companies entering into the industry. Last but not least, the regulatory changes and compliance requirement could also impact operation and increase costs. That's about it for my presentation. Thank you very much.